I can tell you, I cannot take credit for any of it. So let me just tell you from now, if you come and say you did a good job and I said to God be the glory, I am not taking any credit because I've seen where God has worked everything out. All right, before I start, so we had a unhappy or a happy accident. I don't know which one you want to call it. So one of the pieces that I did, the rim is at the bone dry stage. So remember we talked about the different stages before it gets processed. It has to be sieved and all of that. Then on the wheel, when it comes off the wheel, it goes to the leather hard stage. And that is the stage where you trim outside and you fashion outside. So while it's on the wheel, you don't really mess with outside, you form inside. And then once it's on the leather hard stage where you can hold it without distorting it, then you work on the exterior. However, for this piece, the rim was very thin, and another in the transportation yesterday, the pieces got cracked. Now, this piece will not be able to do its purpose, so it will be reclaimed. So this is my reclaim water. I'm going to put it in, right? I'm going to leave it there, and we can look at it afterwards and see what happens to it. All right. This is another bucket of all of the clay that I've been using in the past 3 weeks now. And you can see where it has been reclaimed. All of them, you can tell the piece is different from how it is right now. So you can't tell that this was once a part of a plate or a bowl, and it's just ready to be placed back in the plaster bath, dried out some more, and re-wedged and reused. All right, so doesn't get thrown away. All right. You may begin this side, please. All right, so we're going to do a brief recap. And so just quickly looking at Jeremiah, I'm going to talk and go get 1 minute. I'm going to proceed to throw a bowl while I'm going through this, through another one similar to the one that we lost. All right, so I'm just going to wedge a little bit. Sorry about that. Let me see. I had already wedged it, so it shouldn't need a whole lot. Yes, it's good. Okay. So remember, we have to pat in everything. All right. So I'm going to remove my shoe just for those who can see. Um, I have my shoe on because of this presentation, but normally I would have my shoe off. And it helps me to sort of connect with what is happening from the pedals. All right, so recapping, Jeremiah 18, verses 1 to 6, where the potter wrought a work on the wheels, and plural wheels, so the bottom wheel and the top wheel. And we looked in Jeremiah 29, verses 11 to 13, and we were reassured that God's plan for us is good. In Deuteronomy, Deuteronomy 4 to verse 24, Deuteronomy 9, verse 3, Deuteronomy 12, verse 29. Now we're going to look at God as the consuming fire. I don't know if we could bring up any of those for me, please. Until you do that. So God is a consuming fire, but God is also a consuming fire that does not have to destroy what he has consumed. All right, so in Deuteronomy 24, verse 24, for the Lord is a consuming fire, a jealous God. Know therefore today that he who goes over before you as a consuming fire is the Lord your God. He will destroy them and subdue them before you. So he's going to be your defense. You don't have to worry about fighting your own battles because he's already gone before you to fight them. When the Lord your God cuts off before you the nations whom you go into dispossess, and you dispossess them and dwell in their lands. So whatever your inheritance, whatever the promise that he has given you, he will bring it to pass. All right, keep going. All right, recapping again. Remember, we looked at the clay body, the parent body, which is the rock, and how the rock over time gets cracks, and those cracks have organisms, plant structure, and all of this helps to create what we are using now, which is the clay. So if we look at it in terms of God orchestrating our lives before the foundation of the world, God knew who you were, he knew what you would be, and what you would go through to be the clay fit to be used on the potter's wheel. We looked at the bonding structure, the two different layers or mineral types that are in every clay body, right? All right, so let's look at designing the vessel of choice. Already envisioned and sketched and measured the details, width, height, curve, overall shape of the vessel, quantity of water needed, and firing process. Last week we didn't add this in, but it is here now. The firing process the vessel will go through to be functional, to be a functional wear. So as it is, once it goes to the firing, what I did earlier with the cracked bowl to put it in that water, you're not going to be able to do that anymore. And that is why the potter takes care to make sure that by the time the vessel reaches the bone dry stage, it is ready. So if there's a crack, if there's a chip, and it cannot be corrected, you immediately send them back to the reclaim portion because you want success. We looked at the 4 different clay types that we have: porcelain, ball clay, stoneware, earthenware, and we talked about whether or not which clay type we are. And I didn't ask anybody to tell me, I just asked us to examine ourselves, rate, which is what I was doing at the same time. Right. So the porcelain clay we looked at has kaolin or China clay in it, and it is the clay body that is least forgiving but more sought after because of how refined it is. The ball clay has similar properties to the stoneware clay, earthenware clay, sorry. However, the end result looks like the porcelain clay. So for persons who are just starting out, you can probably have them try out the ball clay with a little bit more success than the porcelain clay. Stoneware is the one that is more readily used for functional wares. It is non-porous plastic, but however has that plastic form to it, but it gives well to making bowls, plates, and all the other things that we use on a regular basis. And then we have our earthenware clay now, which is the roughest of the rough, right? Lots of grog. In fact, on the potter's hand, it is very rough. You feel every single bump, every single like grain, the hard grains, more than you do for all the others. But it has use as well, and it is made the way it is because of the purpose that it will be used for. All right? Can go to the next one, please. All right, so I'm making a bowl similar to the one that got cracked, a little bit bigger. And as you can see, it's wider. All right. All right, so I'm going to pull this up from the base, slow down the wheel. I'm coming up. So because this is going to have a little rim to it, everything has to be centered, and regardless whether you're making a bowl, a plate, a teapot, a teacup, a pitcher, whatever it is you're making, it has to have a cylindrical form going up as well. All right. So I already have the estimate of how high I want it, and this is about the height. And now that I have it at the height that I want it, I'm going to work on the rim. So now I'm pushing out. And I'm going to shape that and then take it off the wheel. I'm moving a little bit faster with making the forms this today because I really want to get to the firing part of it. However, I realized that I had not made any bowls for you to see, so I wanted to do that really quickly. All right, that's us. Trim the edge, base now. And we're going to take this off the wheel. 1 minute. This towel looks very white now. It will not remain that way for very long. We use our V hands. Slip it off. Okay. And I'm going to just leave this here for a little bit. All right. So we are going to have a few persons come up and they're going to help us with a few areas that just in the recap really quickly. So I'm going to ask Sister Simone Ellis, Minister Hibbert, and Brother David Bartlett to come up for me, please. You can walk around this side. And so each person, I selected wedging, centering, and trimming. And each person has been given one task to do. And afterwards, I'm going to ask them about it. Because it's one thing to see what is being done, it's another thing to experience it. So we are going to start with the wedging person. You can come. And so I'm going to allow you to start from the battering portion of your clay. There you go, sir. So you're going to soften that clay and take off a portion of it. Go ahead. Remember, you hit it on the ground? Yes. All right. You need more than that, man. Yes, man. That's good. You can, yes. So now you're going to borrow the wire tool and you're going to take off a portion. All right. Sure. You can give me that back. And the clay that he wedges will be used by the person who is going to center. And he's going to do the ram's head method, where he pushes in and rocks forward. So into the sides and rock forward. You have to rock it, try to put it on the tip and rock forward. And I'm so proud of these three persons because, I mean, they've just been exposed to a little bit of it within the past couple of days, and they're coming up, and I know they're going to do a great job. Give it another whirl. Yeah. Yes, another working. Yes. And don't be afraid. That's how you get out the air pockets. Remember, wedging is different from kneading. Kneading, you want air in there because you want your dough to rise. Wedging, you do not want any air pockets because you want compression. You want solidity. You want everything to stay together, not fall apart. Yes. All right, so I'm going to ask each of you to talk. Well, I'm going to let you go through, and then I'm going to ask you to talk after. All right. Sir Hubert? Oops. In here. So any excess? Oh, hold on a moment. Here is another water. David? Here's another one. Yeah. It's very clean. Shall not be that way for much longer. All right, you can go ahead. Here you go, sir. Hold on to this for a minute. And here you go. Thank you. You don't leave. Very good. Give him a hand. That was very good. I'm going to need for you to talk, so don't go too far. All right. So you can spread it out if you need to, so you don't. Can open out the towel a little more if you want to. All right. Good. Pull it in the center a little bit more. Just pull, man. All right. Very good. Remember, keep your hands moist. Do that over the clay. Right. And what he's going to do is his left hand has to be stable. And he's pulling up all of the force from his back up to his shoulder. And he's using his legs and the side of the splash basin to keep his left hand firm. And then he's going to use his right hand to add pressure down out and over. So he's starting first like chopping down, out and over. Keep going. Press. Yes. All right, good. Down. All right. Keep it going fast. Out and over, slowly over. So even though the wheel is moving fast, his hands have to move slower than the wheel. All right, he's doing an excellent job. Excellent job. All right, rinse off your hands, please. There's a sponge. All right, go at it again. Press down. Remember not to get anything around the sides. Keep that left hand in the middle, pressure in the middle, and not down the base. All right. Keep the reel going faster. And that's the thing with the centering. The reel is going so fast. It's maximum speed while you center. Keep going. All right. And I'm going to assist him a little bit if he wants. All right. And you can finish up, sir. Give you a little bit of moisture. Keep that hand firm with the next one. Firm against the next one. Both hands. All right. I can slow down the wheel a little bit now. Not so slow. All right. All right. Pull out. Doing a very good job. All right. Let me assist you a little bit again. Let me give you a little bit more assistance. This is a very hard job, you know. Okay. And he's going to tell you about it. Spin, spin for me. One minute. 1 minute, sir. Slow down the wheel a little bit. A little faster. All right. All right. So you're going from center, edge to center. You're going to flatten off the bottom of that nose so you don't get any S cracks. So you want to take off all of that. Try and use your pointer finger instead of your thumb. Use your pointer finger. Yes. Center to edge. All right. You can use this if needed. All right. All right. We can finish off the edge around there. So hold it like the pencil and go straight down. Turn it this way. From the top down. All right. Spin. All right. If you want to pull up one time, you can. Here, use this on that hand and go for it. Remember, this comes inside here. Like this. Let me 1 more second. So I'm going spin, spin. So this hand outside, this hand inside, pull up a little. So we're going to give it one pull. All right, not too fast. Slow down the wheel. Good. All right. Up, up, keep going up. All the way to the end. Stop it. 1 minute. All right, good. Spin, spin. All right. I think this is good. All right, very good. Everybody give him a hand. Trust me. This is excellent. All right, so you're going to take this off the wheel now. Spin, let me give you a little base. All right. All right. You can stop it for a little bit. Stop it. Here you go. And he has to make the wire tool firm enough. All right, turned off the wheel 1 minute. Remember, you have to move it while it's spinning. You hear? So, all right. Because it's not. Yes. All right, wait. Let's turn it back on. Don't spin it too fast. Keep this firm. All right, go for it. Spin, pull down. All right, good. All right, you can stop spinning now. All right, may I have the wire tool? Thank you. And now you're going to take off. Pull down. All right. 1 minute. Right under there, right beside you. All right. V hand push, V hand receive. Push out. Bring it up. Wow. Hold it, hold it, hold it. All right. Good job, good job. Here you go. Here's your water right over here. All right, so I'm going to get this ready for the person who is going to be trimming. Here you go, sir. All right. Thank you very much. I really love that song that is playing. I believe it is so fitting for what we are learning and what we are going through right now. Fixed upon it. Thank you, Jesus. All right, so in order for you to trim, so if you notice, I don't know if you noticed that I had tapped the top of some of those and I have them turned over to this shelf. I have them turned over because I am allowing the base to dry, right? And once the base has been dried to the extent where you can trim or take off parts of it, that's when you do the base. You trim it. All right. Let me just get. All right, so when you trim, you need to have, I'm just trying to get some of the water out of it. All right. Simone is going to be preparing to trim. I'm just getting it sealed to the wheel for her, and then she's going to come and trim. All right. So there are times potters will spin the wheel and they will tap it in place. And then there are others who will use the needle tool and create a circle, and you move it as needed. So basically, everything you do on the wheel, the pot has to be centered. All right, so based on how it is now, it looks centered. I'm going to allow Simone to come. I'm going to give her a bottle stopper to hold it with. This is more modern intervention. Yes, use the clean side. Good. All right, so she's going to hold down here, and then she's going to apply 3 different pieces of clay to seal it. Don't move, don't move. Well, let me turn off the wheel for now. Apply it to it. Yeah, just put it down. Seal it to the wheel. Good. All right, this is a little bit softer than the usual, so turn it again. Oops. Sorry. Not too fast. All right, good. I'll put the next one there. All right. All right, so now she will be using these very special tools. You haven't seen me use them before, but I have used them to get, so basically she's going for something like this, right? So go, let's start by going in. Remember the angles is this side, sorry. Yes, the angle, go. So she's trimming off the excess. And basically, that is almost dead weight. It's going to collect moisture, and it would make the base explode because it's going to take longer to dry than the rest of the pot. Good. And go down that way. So curve down the other way now. Good. All right. Now I'm going to help you a little bit. Allow me to drive for a minute. Spin. Continue. So seal off down here. Sorry. Yes, just like that. All right. All right. Spin 1 more minute. Spin. All right. So now we're going to start up here. But before we do, she's going to get spin a minute. Spin a little faster. All right. That's good enough. So you're going to just continue doing that and then go in yes. Yes. Let's keep it like this. Keep going. All right. It's okay. Keep going. Remember, you do have 20 years of experience in this, and you're doing excellent. All right, good. And now we're going to do inside here. So let me start it for you. Spin. Spin. Spin a little faster. Little faster. All right. So you don't want your pot, spin a little faster. You don't want your pot to sit just flat on either the kiln or the tabletop when it has been fired. So she's going to finish bringing this to here. The circle, use this part. All right. Yes. All right, that's good. I know you're going to get rid of this piece that's up here now. So you start from the center and go out. Yes. Can use this hand to hold out here, right? All right, let me go again. Go again. Spin. All right, so you hold it firm. Remember, always balance the right hand on the left. Your left hand will always be the source of support and balance, always. One more, and then we're finished. All right. Thank you very much. Spin, and then you can just seal it off. Spin it a little faster. All right. Do the sides too. All right, good. Thank you. Wow. Can take off. And all of this excess will go inside here. All right. So I'm going to ask, while I'm preparing the rest of this, I'm going to ask each of you to just give me an idea of what it was like. Here's your water. Just briefly, give me an idea of what it was like. We can start with David. Here's the mic right here. You can just bring it back to the table. Right here. Oops, sorry. Right there.
So for me, the wedging, I have had the tendency to start flashy because I wanted to look good and not look like an amateur at anything that I did. And I didn't appreciate that the wedging was necessary. The discipline of God, the foundation, seeing that there's no cracks in my foundation stage, that ram's head technique, it is not random, it is not arbitrary, it is planned, it is necessary, and it stabilizes me even before I go on the wheel. I didn't appreciate that, feeling the clay with my hands while I was wedging and doing that technique that you showed me. It started to draw out in me what God is doing in my life in terms of slow your roll, bro. Get the fundamentals right. Get lost in the Word of God before you want to be seen or anybody to see you.
Used.
You gotta get that right. So that was very instrumental for me.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hibbert?
Praise the Lord, everybody. It was a tremendous experience in that I believe what I have felt and the intimacy involved with the clay and the operation is embedded most of the doctrines of the Bible. It is so symbolic that even though I might be a little stronger than Sophia, it's really not by might while you really need strength, but by his power. So Sophia was able to help me to maneuver because there's so much care and intricacy involved. I would liken it on how the Lord deals with us. It's not a hands-off process, but an intimate process. So he knows everything that we are going through. So what actually I did was throwing and centering. So I believe that this deals with the physical aspect of our being. And it doesn't matter what stage we are at, whatever we are going through, if we are depressed, if we are emotionally out of it, if there, God can still use us. There's still use for us. And that gave me comfort in carrying out the operation. So no matter how it came out, God can still use it. God bless.
Amen. Thank you. Lady Simone?
Praise the Lord, everyone.
Praise the Lord.
All right, from the little demonstration, it reminds me of the scripture in Romans where it says that God's purpose for me and for all of us is that we be conformed to the image of his Son. And confirmation and transformation in our lives means that everything that does not belong need to go. So while I trim the vessel, or I reflected on myself, I think about my life, it felt painful as though it was me, but I still have an appreciation for what the Lord is doing, because I know in terms of character building, when God is building character in you, it's not a walk through the park. It's painful, the experience is painful, but it's for your good. And somebody might say, how is it for your good and it's painful? I don't know, but God says it's for our good and his glory, even though it's painful. So that is what it reminds me of, that God is serious about character building, and any particles, any excess that does not belong is going to go one way or another.
All right, thank you very much. And just to add a little bit to that, for your good portion of it, whenever we go, can you imagine this vessel? Because I'm going to actually put a handle on the vessel that Lady Simone just did for us, right? So she just trimmed the base, right? And it was very well done. And I'm going to put a handle on it. Now, if she didn't take off, yes, it was painful. And if you imagine this vessel feeling what is done to it, it is painful to take that off. But the function of this vessel after it has been fired is greater than the pain that it would go through to be trimmed. And that is why it's for our good. The purpose that God has planned for us is greater. So I'm going to add a handle, and I pre-made these handles. And what I'm doing right now is I'm scraping away a portion. And why am I doing that? I'm doing this because I am adding a different level of clay body to it. So this handle has a little bit more moisture in it than this creamer pitcher that we're making. It has a little spout, so we're making a little creamer pitcher, right? And I want it to stay. If I just plop it on there and the roughness isn't there to hold it, it will not stay. Both will dry at two different consistency and they will pull apart. So I'm using a regular dinner fork, but they have different things that you can use. Right here, what I have is called slip. The slip is basically the clay that has been taken off the wheel, either from throwing or from trimming, and you add those pieces back to the main portion of it. You then take from that and create a glue, so to speak, and use that to help and build attachments, right? So I'm adding the slip to this. And when I add it, I do a little bit more scratching. Rest it here. Potters tend to have a lot of tools. So I have a knife here. And since I did it this morning, I'm just cutting a smoother edge, right? And I'm going to press in, using my thumb to hold here a little bit. Fold in this part, press down, and from here I'm going to press in and out. And when I do that, I don't know if you can see, some of the slip starts to get pushed out, right? And once that slip is pushed out, it's almost like, you glue something, you add your ponal or whatever, and you press it down and it spreads. And so that is what is happening on the inside with that slip. And then I'm just going to fold over the excess edges, right? Can use this and just take off any excess, because you don't really want a bulge to take too long to dry. I'm going to do the same to down here. Squish it apart, take off the excess. And then I'm going to make little worms or little things here, and I'm going to use those to seal it. So I'm going to start from the center, using my wire tool. And I'm going from the center out because I want to get the slip to hold it for me. Same for the sides. Okay. And what I'm going to do with this now is I'm going to rest it under some plastic so that it takes a while to dry. And different potters have different things that they do. I'm going to rest it here so you can see it a little. Now I got a little bit of paper towel. And what I'm going to do is just fold it around it a little bit. And why I'm doing that is I'm trying to allow both of them to start drying at close to the same level. So I put the paper towel, add a little water, moisture to it, and then I'm going to put this now under some plastic, and it's going to stay there for a few hours, and I'll check it, make sure there are no cracks. If there are cracks, then I try and seal it because it is going through a phase right now, right? Both parts are trying to get to dry at the same level, right? And so you have to monitor it as it's going along. So I'm going to rest it back here, and that would be a process that the potter would do. All right. Let me cover the rest of these handles because they can be used on other pieces later on. All right. Thank you very much. And I can show you one that has been done already. No, I had them at school, so it got bumped a little bit. But you can see where it has attached. There are no cracks. And I'll tell you, this one had a little bit of crack initially, like 2 days ago. And I went in, just basically scrape away what needed to be scraped away, and another bit of slip, seal it back, put the towel around it again, spray everything, put it down, come back and monitor it. Sort of like how God deals with us, no? You have something go wrong, and he comes back, he fixes and check on you until you reach where you're supposed to. All right, can we go back to our slide really quickly? Almost. All right, so propitiation. So I'm going to look at the Hebrew meaning and the Greek one. Right, so it's pronounced hilasterion. Hilasterion, that's the Greek for propitiation. And the Greek meaning says that propitiation satisfies the wrath of God against sin. I put in brackets, our sin, right? The Hebrew meaning says that propitiation is averting the wrath of God by offering a gift. And I put in bracket because we know this is true. Jesus Christ is the gift that was given to cover our sins. So he is our propitiation, right? As explained in Romans 3, verse 25 and 1 John. Okay, let me read it. Whom God put forward as a propitiation by his blood to be received by faith. This was to show God's righteousness, because in his divine forbearance, he had passed over former sins. He is, that's Jesus Christ, the propitiation for our sins, and not for ours only, but also for the sins of the whole world. So this propitiation covers, so this is why we are covered in the righteousness of Christ, right? Each time God sees us, he sees this righteousness, Christ's righteousness, covering to avert the wrath from us until we are indeed glorified with Christ. All right, so I'm going to show you a series of pieces, and I'm going to be very honest with you. These pieces were done over 15 years ago. I didn't know I was going to be doing this. If you asked me 15 years ago, I would not. Architecture school prepared me for being able to talk to people, put it that way. And when I did this series, I went to a liberal arts college where talking about God, bringing up Jeremiah and talking about the things of God in that way was not the norm, right? So I went through a lot of scrutiny. I had everybody in your senior show had to have a panel of about 6 or 7 instructors, professors who would vet what you're doing, right? And so the first set of pieces, the first one, if we can go back to it really quickly, Kimmy, the umbrella theme that I used when I did Jeremiah was growth. And under that growth, I looked at spiritual and physical growth. And this represented my physical growth, being born in this world, being born in Jamaica. Out of the Akipod comes a figure, right? And that is what's there. So this is actually in bronze, but it was tanned to look like clay because the transition would be clay. So this is the first one. This is my new birth. This is growth and development, so still growing physically. And this now is propitiation, new birth, our new birth. So this is my new birth. I'm exposed to God. Who is God? Why does he want me? I'm feeling his presence. I'm aware of his presence. And I'm growing physically as well. My apologies, this is propitiation. So with propitiation, I'm coming more. If you notice, even the hands are moving more upward towards praise and worship. And honestly, the understanding I have now, I did not have that then. So I am honest when I tell you I cannot take credit. Physically, I may have done it, but the understanding behind it and being able to use it now was not in me then. This piece was actually a piece that was built last because the panel of professors didn't understand how you can move from physical growth to spiritual growth, and they didn't have a transition piece. And so they weren't approving my final project. And I literally would pray about it while I was in school until I got this piece, and this is titled Fire Shut Up Within My Bones. And go back to it a little bit, please. It's showing the pot, the vessel being formed and the figure becoming the vessel, right? God. I was telling Kimmy earlier that I just keep shaking my head, shaking my head, shaking my head, because I'm like, I can't believe this, I can't believe this. So you're seeing less of the figure and more of the pot. And even the glazes that were used, we were using glazes that, if you go back to it a little bit, there are two types of glazes on this. The figure is actually earthenware, and the pot is stoneware. And the clay, the glaze that is on it, based on putting Epsom salt on the earthenware, it causes a physical reaction in the kiln that allows the pot to show its form and the figure to show its form and the melting process to be obvious. All of that, just God. Trust me, because all of it was exploration. So you're seeing less of the figure, more of the pot. And if you could see around there, you're barely seeing the figure or the feet till we reach the final vessel of honor. And this glaze, oh gosh, Jesus. This glaze has a crystalline pattern on the inside. You can't see it now, but if you're supposed to look to the base, to where all of it pools, and you might be able to see some of it here, where it creates little crystals, right, as the vessel of honor. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. Can go on. So now we're going to look at that process of firing, right? And I wish this is actually a GIF, but it's not showing the movement of the flames the way I'd want it to. But I had it where the flames were just moving, so you could get an idea of what it is. And there's a little clip that we are going to watch. It's about 11 minutes or so, and it's based on a firing that was done in North Carolina by a group of potters. I was in North Carolina for my undergraduate, and it is a wonderful place to be surrounded by that type of atmosphere. I was telling somebody a couple of days ago that pottery, out of all the art forms that I've been exposed to, it is one of the most humbling art form ever. Because you cannot come to this wheel with arrogance and try and throw a pot. You cannot come with anger. You cannot come with frustration. You literally have to settle yourself in order to sit here and throw even something as small as a pound of clay. So every time you go around the wheel, you're humbled. And I think it lends to the environment because potters are willing to leave from one state to the next to help another potter and pack out their kiln, because you cannot fire a kiln with one piece or two or three. Everything has to go in. The bisque kiln is packed. You have pot on top of pot, that's in the bisque kiln, nudging against each other. All of those are in the bisque kiln together, going through the flame together, and it actually helps to the kiln to work more effectively to have them. So here it is. So the bisque, for the bisque firing, this is how it looks. You see all that pot turned to the side? All of these, and they're packed layers on top of layers. If you go to the next slide, you will see layering of these pots, right? None trying to say, oh, I'm porcelain and you are stoneware and you are, earthenware. Don't touch me, don't come against me, right? Everybody's together. And it has to be that way for the kiln to function. Glaze firing is a little bit different, just a tad bit. And that is just because of the added element of the glaze, right? But it is a lot more rigorous. And as you can see, all of that is flames. And in the middle of the flames, you see some little diagonal shaped things pointing up. Those are called cones. And you use the cones to gauge what is happening in the kiln, because from this reaches 500 degrees and up, nobody can put their hand inside there, right? It's just the pots and the elements, and they have to be together, right? They are going through the flames together, interacting with each other, because my pot might be next to your pot, right? And because of the glaze on it, and if it's a wood fire, you might get some of the color and the luster off of my pot, or vice versa, right? And potters don't care. This is exciting to know that there is an element of surprise at the end where it's almost like a community of pots interacting together, kingdom building, kingdom mindset. So we have two types of glaze firing. You have the oxidation and you have the reduction firing. With oxidation firing, it's electric. With reduction, it's either wood or gas. So you're looking at the final pieces on one end and pieces that are being fired. And you can't tell the color. You can't tell what they're going to be yet. You just see everything just taking the color of the flames and the fire that it's immersed in. And believe it or not, during the glaze firing, a lot of these pots lose the rigidity that they have, because as I was telling somebody earlier, from the first firing, any excess water that has been fused to the molecules of clay start to be removed, and the pot is being compact, right? And when it reaches the second firing, which is the glaze firing, it is so hard that you can't even drill it. When that pot comes out, you cannot use a drill to drill a hole in it. It will break the drill. It is that compact. We're looking at a wood firing, and you can't tell you can't tell the pot different from the flames, different from the kiln. You can't tell what is going to be red or blue or gray. Everything is just immersed in that flame. And earlier when we looked at God being an all-consuming fire, right? That is what he does with us. Each of us, we're together. Yes, we're going through our individual situations, but we are together because we are in him, right? And even when we feel like we are alone, just remember you are together because you're in him. You're not carrying yourself. We are not carrying ourselves. He's the one who's carrying us through the flame, and we have to go through the flames to be that final product. All right, so let's watch this clip really quickly. So they've created a furnace, and what they're doing, they're stroking it. And each time they will go and they'll look, and they will add different chemicals to it. And you end up with a final piece. And if you can pause it right here for a minute, well, keep going. What they showed a little while ago was basically a quick synopsis of what is going to happen. And this is the preparation. So you're putting at the base of it what is called kiln wadding. And that is allowing the pot to have a stable footing on the shelf. And each pot, because this is a wood fire technique, this kiln is huge, right? They have about 3 layers of it, and that's different from the pit that they're going to put the coal in to supply the kiln. So after they've packed everything in, they seal it, and then you put together some more wadding and wattle daub, and you seal everything in. The only holes that are going to be there would be to put in the salt or to check on the cones, and these are smaller bricks that are pulled out. And this is done over a week. It's not a one-day process. So now they're lighting the wood, right? And what they do is you have to slowly, it's not a fast process. So the fire is built up slowly, right? Over time, you get it to 500. So maybe take a day and a half to get it there. So here is on the next day. So one whole day to get it to where it is, and he's on day 2. See, 550 degrees Fahrenheit. And this is what the flames look like. Now you can see, and if you notice, they only have on regular gloves, putting in the wood, and you're going to see where the clothing for the potters have to change, because the flames are going to be so high that you have to protect yourself. So they're cutting the wood, making sure, and this is a team effort. And remember, we said potters come from all over. They hear that you're firing a big kiln, and everybody's in. So you're stroking the flames, trying to get it hotter. Now they're at 1290 degrees Fahrenheit. Still not hot enough. They're wearing gloves, but it's not there yet. And they're going to be doing a reduction firing, so that's when you starve the kiln of oxygen. So you're closing it up so there's no oxygen. It's just the flames. And that does something to the glazes, to the manganese and the iron and the aluminum that's in the clay body, plus what is in the glazes. So now you notice the clothing has changed. You have that mask on, it has tint on it. Because if you go near that flame, you see how white it is? It will blind you. It is that hot, right? You have to have on your coat all the way down to your wrist, and then another gloves there, still stroking it because it has to get hotter. This is what, day 3 or 4 now? And now look at the flames that's coming out of the chimney. Right? There's the kiln down there, and look at the flames that's rising. And this shows you what is happening on the inside. So they'll pull out the specific bricks and they'll check to see when the cones that I told you about go down. And when it has reached where the last one, that's your cone 10 or your cone 12, you know that you have reached a certain temperature. And sometimes it gets so hot in there that you can't even see the cones, which is why they have that temperature monitor on the outside as a backup, just in case. You have to have your protective gear, both male and female there. All right. So now you're getting ready. You're taking out the ash, right? Going to add more to it, and then you're going to add the salt to it now. And the salt is going to do something different to the glazes. And they have a power machine that they're blowing that salt in. You notice 3 of them doing it? Excuse me. This is the last day. And now they're removing everything and it has to cool. Oh, they know their names are on them and their glazes are different and they can. And their styles. Yes, how do you trim your pot? How do you everything is there. So each potter knows this is mine, this is yours. There's no. Yes. And you see the colors, he's actually talking about how it because it's next to another pot that has the blue, how it transferred over to his. Look at that. And it's like Christmas, trust me. It is like Christmas scene. And in fact, you can't hear it, but normally when a kiln takes 2 days to cool down, and when you open it, it's like singing. You hear all of the glazes tinging, ting, 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 and it's just bouncing off of each other. It's just wonderful. And he's explaining there that he put some spots, but he didn't expect that he would get some others. And the ones that he got just made it even more beautiful than what he expected. And that is why the preparation has to be done. You have to trim, you have to do all of this. You understand? And there they are, sorting out everything. Look at all of those. All right, this is it. Thank you very much.